It all started one morning in August. Rachel and her friends were going to meet that day to spend the day together. When their meeting ended, they all decided that the next week they could make a getaway to the beach of Huelva. The following week, Rachel and her friends took the cars and set off on an adventure. When they arrived in Huelva, they went directly to the apartment, which they had rented for 3 days. After leaving all the things, Rachel and her friends decided to put on their swimsuit and spend the day at the beach. When they got to the beach, they were surprised because in the part where they stood, there was no one. Only in the distance you could see a beach chair with umbrella, but they didn't give it much importance. Rachel and her friends were very happy to be so alone. It began to get dark on the beach, and Rachel and her friends around 9:25 decided that it was time to go back to the apartment. Before leaving, they realized that the chair was still there. They went to see if there was someone, but there was no one. They found very stranger things: a beach bag, a towel, a red notebook, and a spoon. But what was all those things? Rachel and her friends left without giving it much importance. After that, they went to dinner and then had a drink in a pub. When they finished, they decided to walk to the beach to see the stars and have a good time together. The hours passed, and 4:30 in the morning, a man starts approaching them and starts screaming at them where the beach chair with all the stuff was. The man relaxes and began to tell them that he sits in that chair every night for 3 months because it relaxes him. But he told them that he really didn't know what those objects were. He told them that he took the objects, used them, and put them back in their place and then left. But they told him they don't know anything and they didn't see anything. The men left without saying anything else, and they got very nervous. They didn't know what was happening, so they decided to pack up and get out of there. But suddenly something appeared. Suddenly a spoon appeared on the table, and it was the same spoon that they had seen that morning. They couldn't believe it. They started walking as fast as possible, and in the first trash can they saw, they threw the spoon. In order to get to their apartment, they had to go through a park. They went as fast as possible to get out of there. When they left the park, they saw that there were many things lying in the garbage, but only one person in the group was able to recognize where they were from. Logan gave a very loud scream when he saw it, and he began to explain to them what it was. They no longer knew what to think. They began to get more nervous and didn't know what to do. They began to run as fast as possible to their apartment. They were really very afraid that something would happen to them. They opened the door and directly began to look from the window if there was someone watching them, but they didn't find anything. The next morning, they got up and went to the beach to see if the things were there. When they arrived, there was nothing, only two grandparents with their granddaughter. They began to walk along the beach and talk about what happened, but suddenly they saw something in the distance. When they saw what it was, they began to cover their eyes and say they were going to go crazy. They didn't know what was happening, so they decided to go back to the apartment, pick up things, and get out of there as fast as possible.